You know, one of the greatest truths for me, and I don't know if it's like this for other women who have, I don't want to say succeeded, but who have, you know, gotten to a certain level. It has always been men who has helped me. It is the weirdest thing. I don't know why women are like that, but the majority of women that I have ever came across, they don't want to give up the game. One of the things that I love so much about the younger generation is that they are not as much as keeping it all to themselves, and they give all the secrets away. And that's one of the reasons why I adore social media in that aspect. Because a person like my daughter, like I have 3 daughters, you know, like I love the fact that they can go there and feel another woman connect to them. Because I'll tell you, in my generation, so millennials, Gen X's, and probably baby boomers, they did not. Women kept it all to themselves. It was almost like afraid of letting their one little position go, you know, and not want to have another woman there and constantly feeling like they were in competition. I think for sure that that's one of the reasons why, like, it took me so long to do things. Because women wouldn't tell me how to do it. And if I would ask, it would be like it's like, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of how women would help me back in the day. So how do you make the spaghetti? Well, you get a sauce, and the sauce, you get a meat, and you put the sauce and the meat together in a pan and add some seasonings. And then if I was like, okay, well, what's the seasoning? Well, that's my special seasoning. I can't give you my special thing that I do, you know? And then outside of that, it would be like, okay, great, no problem. Great sauce, meat, pan, whatever. It'd be like, okay, so what store do you go? What sauce do you get? Well, you go to Fry's. Perfect. 48 options on the shelf for fries, for sauce. What sauce do you get? Just one of the ones you like. What one are you getting? Right. What are you buying when you go there? And then it would be like, well, Ann, that stuff makes me so angry. I think that women, like, I can't tell you how many times I've had to justify why it is a man that is helping me or why I have gone. Because when I was younger, women would not give me the game. Then when I got into my 20s and I was just trying to stop being this person who was going to bed hungry, if I were to look at every person who actually came in, stepped in and helped me then, it was never a woman. They would help me, but only so much. And it's like, if you don't tell me what sauce and brand you're using, yeah, I could go into the store and buy a sauce and kind of make some version, but I'm not trying to make some version. I'm trying to make what you are making. Help me make what you're making. Help me have that too, or be that too, or become that too. I don't know why women were like that. I learned early in my journey, I was just going to give away everything. I think that's why I do it in night school. I think that's why it's like that. Because I can tell you 20 times that someone could have just given me the answer instead of making me beg for it or ask for it or plead for it, in my 20s especially. And I could think of an age like 29, 30, because I was 27 or 28 when I did my first $1 million. And it was hard. And I felt alone. I did not feel like I ran to the hills and had all the answers. It was hard. And I remember going to these meetings and asking a couple of women who were specifically in Lincoln County, North Carolina, and I would ask them, because they didn't own the business that I owned, but they were the operations manager for them. So I was asking them real questions like, how do you hire and stuff? And they would be like, I remember asking once, can I see a copy of your job description to hire these type of sales reps? And they'd be like, well, if you, and no one would ever give me the thing. And I was always like, why are you like this? It just mirrored every other version or moment in my life. And it's probably the reason why I give away everything. I actually feel like people, it's not that they think too much about their knowledge, but they think way too much of themselves to need to keep their knowledge to themselves. Because when we die, we can't take any of it with us. You know, like, honestly, we can't take any of it with us. We can't do a thing with it. It is not as proprietary when we are in the ground. For me, I'm like, why not just share it? Especially people who are touting it and pouncing all over the streets, talking about, I want to make the world a better place. I'm here to help people. I want to grow people. All this foolishness. And it's like, no, you're a liar. You don't, because everything you have is behind a paid wall. Even the damn book is behind a paid wall. Even it is behind a paid wall. I'm going to take this time to tell you exactly how you build, how you sell something, or no, I'm going to take this time to tell you one of the easiest ways for you to move a product or service. It's to gather people. You choose a date and a time. It's really not that hard. You choose a date and a time, you choose a place, you choose a place, and it could be your bedroom. It could be your bedroom because you're doing it virtually. It could be your living room if you're going to do it in person. It could be your backyard. It could be the church office. It could be a building like this that you rent out. But bottom line is you gather people and you say to the world, I am going to do said thing at this time. I'm going to help 20 people learn how to sew. And I'm going to charge $50 to teach you how to sew. Or come on over here. I'm going to teach you how to sew. And then from there, you can teach people how to sew and then sell them into something or give them a product or service to buy afterwards. I think that the world would truly be a better place if more women had leadership roles. I'm serious. I know this sounds crazy, but I think if more women had leadership roles, I'm not talking about the president, I'm just talking about like if more women had leadership roles and we could use kindness and empathy as ingredients for simply running companies, running political organizations, running cities, states. Like, I went to Capitol Hill and I spoke on Capitol Hill, and I'm gonna tell you, half of the men that I spoke to on Capitol Hill, let's say they were all nice, they had no idea what it was like to be a citizen in Phoenix, Arizona. They were so disconnected from what's happening here. And I don't mean here, because like here was no different than Houston, no different than Rochester, New York. Like when I said to them, I'll tell you the sentence that really baffled me. So I had to answer a question from the lobbyist or whoever. I had to answer a question. The question was like, well, why don't you want people to have cash after 7 o'clock? And I was like, or after 5 o'clock. And I was like, well, I prefer that people don't pay in cash and they pay in credit card because we don't want to have that kind of cash sitting in a register in our little thrift shop when we have an employee just behind the register. And they were like, oh. I was like, yeah, because what if someone broke in or robbed us or something? And they were like, oh, have you ever heard of people being robbed after such and such and such to their like assistant? And I was like, the heck? Was that a real statement? I was like, did you just say that you didn't know that there was a connection between holding cash? What the heck? So the other day I got a lot of heat for talking about being part of the human race. And I was really looked down upon because I said that I was part of the human race before I was part of another race. And I'll tell you what, I feel like all of those ideas are just another way of trying to label people so that they can be kept down, they can be not manipulated, but pushed into a corner. I don't want to be in a corner. I don't want to be under a roof. I don't want to live my life or play my cards without being able to embrace all of who I am versus just part of what I am. I am tired of the ideas of embracing pieces of me. I am not just a woman, I am a black woman. I am a black American woman. I am a Jamaican woman. I am the daughter of an immigrant. I am a mother. I am a CEO. I am a ... Like you can put it, you can do whatever you want to these titles, but I'm all of them. I think the faster that we embrace all of us is the faster we just make things happen. You know, someone asked me this question. Someone asked me a stupid question. This is real. Someone came to the internet and asked me a real question. They came to the interwebs and they put this, what has a Mexican ever done for you? You believe that someone had the balls to ask me that question? On a social media platform? No, I'm not kidding. What has a Mexican ever done for you? And I was like, you should have listened to me. I almost lost my way to heaven responding to this person. I couldn't help it because I thought to myself, it was me taking a stance and saying, hey, we should care about all the people in all the ways. What has a Mexican ever done for you? And I thought to myself, dear God in heaven, this is not real. You people are not real. This is not real. What has a Mexican ever done for me? So one of the ways that you build faster with anything is just by using your story first. A lot of people like to take their story and they insert it. They try to like slide it into something where truthfully, you can't really slide in your story at the end. You actually need to lead with your story. There's a big difference between building something and then building something that will last. If you just take your story and you insert it every so often, yeah, you'll get somewhere, you'll make some things happen, but think about long after you can't talk anymore, when you can't move, and when you are gone. If you just insert it and there's nothing for it to stand on, eventually it'll fall and collapse. The magic happens when you're able to, how do I say this? When you're able to build and stand on your story versus inserting your story. So I had this employee. He was awesome. And I'm going to just say his last name was Williams. Or first name was Williams. I'm going to protect him. And one day I came out of a bar with him and the other employees because we had something to celebrate. Learn too much about the potential of the danger, then you succumb to being afraid. But without it, you can do a lot more. I want to remind you, as you're doing or building something right now, that fear hates movement. As soon as he began to give me his fears, I remember him genuinely looking at me and being like, Miss Tiffany, don't, and he's older than me too. I remember him saying, please don't ever go to Faith, North Carolina by yourself again. And I was like, why? And he was like, we are not accepted there. He was a black guy. After this moment, and mind you, I had many many moments that involved race when I was there that were painful and hard for me. But the look on his face, I realized that even though I had moments of race, I just chucked them up to being isolated race moments, only for me to really understand that it was more than just an isolated race moment, that this city, Faith, North Carolina, just was they were not into black people, but they weren't having it. It was only when I responded to him and I said, I hear you and I so appreciate you caring about me like that, but I can't live in fear. It's not because I'm bigger than anything, but what am I as a leader if I'm afraid? If I'm afraid, then what are you gonna do? Because we're here. We're in North Carolina. And there's a lot of people who don't like us, but we're still deciding to be here. And the second that we make a decision to not be here is maybe the second that we can change that circumstance. But until you make that decision, you can't allow yourself to live in fear. I was like, I can't live in fear. I have to live in what I am. This is a county. Rowan County is a place I have to cover. It's on my contract with Xerox. And I am going to stay right here. One of the ways that I speed up my growth and growing things is I put everything into their own isolated spaces. Like I try very hard not to put too many things in one place, and I try to give them their own container. Like an event, I try to give it its own container. A business idea, a revenue idea, I give it its own container. Like for example, Do the Damn Thing is a product, it is a brand, and it's a movement. And I could just say, we have a membership called we have a membership or a community called, that's a 12-month program, but I put it into its own container and then I give that an identity. So Do the Damn Thing has its own identity, and then there's Do the Damn Thing Strong. Strong is the sub-identity of that item, right? Because that way the customer, the market has a place to land within the world. They can find their little world in the big world. If you create a big world and you have a little world to come right on it, you'll attract more people, you can sort more people faster, you can help more people can find themselves in your world. Like, it's just easier to build, it's easier to do things when you don't try to jam everything up into one world. Truthfully, most CEOs don't even realize the potential of what they're sitting on right now. They have a personal brand and then they have a business brand. And they try to do everything out of the business brand and they're just a CEO. But I am Tiffany Largie and I have a personal brand that supports the business brands. It's not the other way around. If you think for a second that Steve Jobs used the Apple brand to support his brand, think again. Steve Jobs did it the other way around. 100%, there is a catalyst, there's an opportunity, like a missed opportunity for the CEO to stop standing. Like if you're trying to build something, stop standing alongside it and stand directly in front of the thing you're trying to build. Instead of sitting to its side, sitting in front. Not to the side, sit in front. Because truthfully and honestly, that's really when the magic happens. That's when you're able to do and move things and make more things happen. Because it's independent of the company and solely dependent, not solely dependent, but like you have your own voice, your own place, your own thing. So I feel like it's just one of the missed greatest opportunities maybe ever.